Alright, welcome back guys. So this is where we left off. This is where we are. This is what we have built so far. So I'm going to minimize this. And I'm going to go back into our HTML. Okay. So we have all of our social media stuff in here. The next area that we're going to target is our header area. Because remember, we are on the way to creating this. This is our goal. So right now we have all of the HTML for this side over here. We need to work on the HTML for this side over here next. Alright, so let's go ahead and grab our header area. Let's put that after this section. Remember, I like to put spaces in even though they don't matter. The browser does not care about these spaces that I put in here, but alright, so we have our header tag. That's our open, that's our close. So that's what you would have in there. The next thing we want to put in there is an H1 tag. Inside of that H1 tag, we're going to introduce a new tag. Well, for now, let's type the resume of, and then your name. Okay, and I think all of that's in there anyway. So right now you will see the resume of your name. So all you're doing is putting an H1 tag around the resume of your name. The way that you would see this on yours, since we haven't gone any further, is you would see this. So let me put it the way that you would see it, or that you should see it. Okay, so it should say the resume of your name, right? So then inside of here, you're going to give it that H1 tag. So we'll give it H1. It's the resume of your name. So we have it open, we must have it close, right? So we're marking up this to say H1, the resume of your name. When we look at it on the browser, it's going to look like this. My browser's not showing the bottom. Hang on, I want you to see the whole thing. Hold on. Alright, so when you look at the browser, it's going to look like this, the resume of your name. That's what you should see. So, what we're about to introduce, and one, we're going to give this H1. Okay, so if we look at the final, right here, notice, so we have the resume of, right, and that's in regular text and it looks nice. But then we also have this span of text right here that's different, okay, and that's what we're going to create. So we're going to have the resume of, and then your name. So in order to make that span of text different, we have to tell the browser that that part of the text is going to be different, not going to be like the rest. So for that part, we need to give it what's called a span with a class, okay? So for that part, this part is going to be normal, the resume of, and then your name is going to get some type of span that's going to be different. So what we need to type for that part is we need to tell the browser, hey, let's give it a span, right? So your left bracket, you're going to type the word span, then a space bar. And remember also, my spacing is going to be different because I made mine larger so that you guys can see it. Do not worry if yours goes and wraps to the next line, or if yours is on the same line, it's okay. So if yours sits like this and then span and the space class is all up here, that's fine. That's good. Alright, so again, so we want to span that bit of information, so we're going to add a span class right after the word of, left bracket, and then the word span, space, and then the word class attribute, so class equals quote, quote. Inside of those quotes is where you're going to type the word name, because that's what the span is going to be called. It's going to be name, and then you should have your closing H1. So again, all this is saying is, one, this whole thing is going to be an H1, right? We've told it it's going to be an H1 tag. Yes, check so far, right? Inside of that, though, inside of that H1, we have just a small amount, which is going to be your name, that's going to have a different type of style to it. So we have to give it a span, because it's this span of information of your name. We need to give it a span class equals name, right? And then after your name, we need to close this span. Okay, so right after the word name, that's where we need to give it that open slash span so that we can close it. All right, so we have the H1 of the whole thing. We have the resume of, which is going to look one way, but then we have your name, which is going to be different. So if we save this, we're not really going to see anything in the preview because we haven't done anything with it yet. But the resume of is going to be one font. It's going to follow the normal H1 font. But your name is going to have a span to it, so it's going to follow something different, which is, if we look at the final right here, the resume of is going to be normal. It's going to follow the H1 rule. But then we have that span of text, your name, which is going to follow a different rule, which is going to be the cursive one. All right. So that looks good. Let's minimize that. Let's go on to the next one. Now, our next area that we're going to target is going to be the Nav area. The Nav area stands for navigation, and that's this area up here where we have our links of objective, experience, education, skills, and contact. Okay, so for that area, I'm going to copy this. Well, let me see how I want to do this. All right, for this area, you're gonna have to see me type because I don't want to. Matter of fact, let me push this up some. All right, you have to suffer with me typing. Only because I don't want this to be super confusing. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to type the word nav. So far, so good. And open. We must have a close. All right, so inside of our nav area, we want to set up our objective. Okay, in between these, I'm putting the pipe. The pipe key is the key that is right before the enter or return. And it's where that slash is. If you hold shift, you'll get a straight line, and that's called the pipe key. So objective, experience, pipe, education, pipe, and then skills, the pipe, and lastly contact. So if we look at this now in our browser, this is what it's going to look like. Down here at the bottom, objective, experience, education, skills, and contact. Not too crazy, right? Pretty tiny. We do want to spell all of our words right. So let's do experience again. All right, let's save that. All right. So inside of here, we're going to make each of these a link, but we're also going to, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the first link, and then I'm going to copy and paste the rest because I don't want to bore you with all the looks. So objective. Objective, we need to make a link. So we already know that to make a link, it is the A tag, right? Next tag is we have to tell it where we want it to go. So we're going to do href. The type that we're going to do, and again, remember that's an attribute. So I'm going to make that an attribute. So the A, href equals quote, quote, which is the attribute for our tag. So inside of this tag, this is a target tag. So target tags are a little bit different. The purpose of target tags is that on your page, they're going to go to any point on your page. So if I were to make this a little larger so that it makes sense, hang on. So objective is a target tag. It's on my same page. I'm just targeting a particular part of my page, right? So that means if I go to contact, it should go to the contact info as it did. And if I go all the way at the bottom, if I go up to education, notice it's pinging to the exact area that I want to go to. If I want to go to skills, it goes to the skills area. So it's targeting specific parts of our page to go to. Okay, so these are target tags, and that's what we're about to create for our nav. So again, that href, again at the end, so we have our a, href equals, and our quote, and in the end, we want to make sure that we end this with the a. So right now, I have a link. I haven't made the target yet. Let's make the target. So inside of our href, we're going to hit the pound sign, and we're going to type objective. Okay, so now we have our a, right? Our left bracket, a, then our space, our href attribute. Inside of the href attribute, we have our target of the pound sign, the word objective, okay? And that's pretty much it. We've just made a link for that. If we save this and we preview it, you'll have that link down there where it says objective, right? And you click on it, and eventually when we have our objective stuff, it'll take us to the objective area. So that's cool. That's what we're going to do to all the rest of the links. You're going to do the same exact thing. I am going to copy and paste, because again, I don't want this video to go too long for one, and I don't want you to sit here and just have to look at me type. All right, so here is the same exact thing done to every other link that's in the page. Although, where's my pipe for this one? Hang on. I think I lost the pipe. Okay. So for every other page. So if I save this and I go to preview it now, you should have links for every part of your page. Let me see. Maybe scroll up, and there they are at the bottom. Okay. So now hopefully you have your nav area done. We're going to do our next area, which is pretty much the same as we've done before. So I can actually just paste this in, and you should be able to, let me see, making sure that nothing's different. Nope, this is all the stuff we talked about in class. So hang on. Yep. So I can paste this whole section area in because for the most part we've talked about all of this in class. All right, so I just pasted a whole bunch of stuff. Don't panic. All right, so we had our nav area, and then all we did was our section class for our right info. The right info area is the area over here, and this is just a section for this whole area. So matter of fact, let me undo that and let me do one of them so that you guys can see, just because I don't want confusion at all. All right, so that right info area has, all right, so we're in the section, right? And then for this one, we're doing, let me see where I'm at. There we go. Okay, section, we're giving it a class. The class for this one is right info. So remember, with a class, it's an attribute, right? So I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm labeling it correctly with the class equals the quote and the right bracket. What we're going to name this one is right info, RIGHT, capital INFO. Okay, and then inside of right info, so I'm going to hit a space because this is going to be a container too. All right, so this is the section class for right info. So what this is for is this whole container that's in this color blue. This whole area, right? The whole area that's in the blue, that's our section info area. Okay, so it's for that whole area. So that means it's a parent, right? Because it's a parent, but it's going to be a parent to each of these areas: the objective area, the experience area, the education area, the skills area, so forth and so on. So this is going to be apparent to that whole area. So that's what we're targeting right now. All right. So the whole right info area is a section. All right. So inside of this area we have, let's see, I'm moving this around so much. I'm losing my spot. Let me see. All right, so inside of this area, we have the objective area. And that I can paste in because that should make sense, right? So I'm going to tab in because section has become apparent. Now I have that objective area, which I gave a section class of objective area, which is this part right here, right? So all I did was, remember I had write info. Inside of it, it became apparent. So it has another area, which is objective area. I have the H2 tag, then the ID equals objective, right? And then the word objective, and then the H2 tag around objective. Too easy. All right, so then we have that paragraph, which is Latin, but we just put a paragraph tag in there to let it know that it's a paragraph. Okay, and again, this is all the information that's copied and pasted onto your screen, already on your browser. So all you're doing is marking it up. So you're really just adding those p tags to it and adding the section classes to it as well. All right, so once we have that, we have our section area, and believe it or not, every other area after this is going to be the same exact thing. So I'm going to minimize that. I'm going to open ours that we're working on and look at it, and notice right here, all you see is the objective, and then you see at the bottom that information that we just put in pasted, right? So this is how it's looking. We're getting there. So for the remaining areas, you have that experience area. You're going to do the same thing. So I'm just going to copy and paste. And you can pause the video and look at it slowly if you're confused about it. But really all we're doing is each paragraph of information, we're adding that section class to it. We're giving it a section class equals, and then we did experience area. Then you're given the heading, which says experience, the H2 tag, you're giving it the ID equals experience, and then closing that H2 tag around it. And then given the paragraph P tag, we gave a break between the first paragraph and then closing paragraph tag. And that is all we're doing to the rest of the areas. So we have, that's the experience area. We're going to have all of the dates area. So that's 2 more areas inside of experience. And inside of that, so I'm going to tab and paste that in. And those areas are that lorem ipsum dolor. All you're doing is giving it a paragraph tag and then a break tag. You're going to close that paragraph, close that section. Well, we already closed the section, so you're going to close that paragraph. And then, let me see, that closes section twice. We're closing section class experience area. We have this section, and then this should be our, yep, okay, space. Save that, just so we can see what we're doing. Preview that. And you should see the experience with those 3 areas. And again, remember the break. So your browser, your working browser should look just like mine so far. We haven't done anything really big yet, but we're going to get to it. All right, so minimize that. We're going to do the same thing for the education area. Again, I'm just going to paste that big block of code in. I'm also going to include the code in the email so that you guys can have it. But we have the section area. Again, that's that big paragraph. Only thing you're doing is adding the section class, education area to that. You're going to add the H2 tags, give it an ID, this time of education. You're going to close the H2 tag. Then you're going to open the paragraphs and then give a break right after the insert date. Close that paragraph, and then we're going to open a new paragraph, and then after the insert date, give it a break, and then close that paragraph. Again, all of this you already have. This is the information that you guys would have pasted in at the last class of the library. The only thing we're doing now is we are marking it up, and that's what we're marking it up with, is our tags. All right, so let's check the skills area. This is actually our last area before our final section. I'm going to copy that. Make sure I'm at this section. Paste that in. And again, same scenario with the rest. You're given it a section class of skills area. You're going to close that H2 tag with an ID of skills. Open the H2 tag with an ID of skills, and then close the H2 tag. You're going to open that paragraph, the first one, and then the second one. You're going to open that paragraph, and then you're going to close the section. And we're going to save it, and then we're going to preview it. And again, we've just brought in the skills section. Okay, so you should have the hang of this part by now. This is pretty much what we did in marking it up. We showed you how to mark it up in the class. So you're just taking and applying the heading, the class to each paragraph as you go along. All right. So we're a long way from this. Remember, we get to this when we do the CSS, but I just wanted to show you the different areas so you can see what's happening. All right, so we want to do our lower nav area, and the lower nav area is the same as the top nav area. So one thing you can do is you can go up at the top and you can copy it and then just change some things. So in our CSS, if you go and locate your top nav area, which for us was where top nav. Let me locate nav. Where'd you go? Contact, mail to, header, right here. All right, so if we locate this, we can copy it, just the nav area, and we can really just paste it down here because we're not going to be doing anything super different. But what I want to do is make sure we're in the right area. So that section that we moved all the way down, let's go ahead and move that one up. Perfect. All right, and now let's paste in the nav from the top. Now with this one, like I said, it's the same as the top, but the only difference is now we're going to add a class to it. So on the bottom nav that we just pasted in, we're going to open that tag to extend the functionality by adding a class. So class equals quote, quote. The name of this one, we're going to call it lower because it is our lower nav area, right? So really, that's all we have to do to this part. Everything else should stay the same because it's going to mimic the upper part. If we save this and then we preview it, we should see a lower nav area that looks just like the top nav area. All right, you should see the same thing. We are golden. Next thing that we want to do is we want to add our footer. Footer, super easy. Oh my goodness, actually this is really the last part that we have to do to this before our HTML is solid. So paste that footer information in. So what you're doing is typing the word footer. I'm pasting it in so that you don't have to see me type, remember? So you have the word footer, and then you close the word footer, and then inside of that you would type the word copyright. Now the copyright symbol, the web doesn't really understand. It uses things called entities. So an entity to get the copyright symbol is the ampersand sign, the word copy. If you don't know where the ampersand is, it is, if you hold shift and the number 7, you'll get the ampersand. Type the word copy, then the semicolon, all together, no spaces. So you have a copyright space, the ampersand, the word copy, the semicolon, all together. Then space, 2016, space, your name. So mine would be Happy Teach, but whatever your name is, you'd put that there, and all rights reserved, and then you would close footer. You would save that. Let's get rid of some spaces now because I know we're at the end. save this, preview this, and now this is what, let me see if I can get it small enough to where we can see the whole thing on the screen. All right, so this is what your website should look like right now. All of the HTML. You should have the picture of the guy, the contact info, your street address should be in between these horizontal rows. Your social media icons should be linked, and they should look like this. The Facebook and the Twitter should be on the same level. The LinkedIn should be right below it. Visit my website should be right below that. The resume with your name, your nav, your objective, experience, education, and skills should all look like this. There should be breaks in between where the dates are. They should be in paragraph tags as far as the content inside. Your education should be the same. That's why I was saying these 3 blocks are just the same. Your skills should be the same. Your objective, that lower nav, should look just like the upper nav, and then the copyright information should be the same. I'm going to make it a little bigger so I can show you section by section. I just want to show you. All right, so we have the young man, the contact information, the horizontal rule, your street address. You should have it filled out with your information, your horizontal rule, your logos, icons, the visit my website, the resume with your name, your navigation bar, objective, experience, education, and skill. Now, if you want to take it a step further, you can put your own information in there as well, like your skills, your education, your experience. You can fill that in so that it looks more like your resume, and then you have ownership of it. That lower nav should look just like this, and the copyright. See that copyright symbol? That's what we got by putting that and copy semicolon. The web then makes the copyright symbol. The 2016, your name, and all rights reserved. And your HTML should be set and solid and ready for class. Now, just so I can show you this breakdown, on the other video, you'll have the beginner stuff, and we stopped the other video after the social media areas, so right here. So the new stuff that was done today is the header area. We gave it a header. We gave the H1 tag, the span class for the resume of, so that we could change the way that your name is going to look. We have our nav, our open nav and closed nav tag. We put that nav information in there, so yours should look like that. That section class for write info, your whole write info area should look like this. And I'm doing it like this so that if you need to pause the video and type, now remember, you're not typing any of this dummy text. All that was in that text file that was given to you and should already be in your website. Like, you should already have copied that in, so you won't have to worry about this dummy text, but it's here. So, and then you're just marking it up, the paragraph tags and the paragraph tags, and then your section class for your experience area should look like this. Now this is a longer area, so hang on. Okay, sweet. So your section for your experience area should look like this, okay, with the H2 tag, the ID of experience, the paragraph, the breaks, and then your education area is right here. So that one should look like this. And then we have your skills area, which might be the longest. Oh, no, it's not. Your skills area, which should look like this. And then we have the closing section area, which is down here, because remember, this is closing the mother of the section area, which is right here, that write info. Okay, so that tag should be there. Right, so you have the section area that's ending your skills area, and then the section area that's ending that main area, that right area. All right, so then we have this nav class lower, which we copied and pasted from the upper one, and we just added that class equals lower so that we can target this one by itself. All right, and then we have the footer area, which has the copyright and then the and copy semicolon 2001 all rights reserved and footer, and then of course your body and HTML ends. Now this is where you should be. Too easy. It's all your HTML stuff, and then when we start on Tuesday, we'll get to the CSS. Again, I will include the code in the HTML, in the email that I send, or I might have a link to it on, no, I think I'm going to include it in the email, so it's probably the easiest way. We'll see. I might have it both places. But anyway, I will include all of this code so that you can have it, so that if you're finding that your code is just not working, which it should, but if for some reason it's just not working, you'll have it. So this is the end of the HTML portion. The CSS portion is a little more challenging. HTML is super easy. CSS is also super easy, but there's just a lot more to it to make it look like we want it to look. So I look forward to seeing you guys Tuesday. Hopefully this video catches you up, and I'll see you soon.